Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control, and we have some Busch Series racing for you guys tonight at the Indianapolis Raceway Park for race 21 of 33 on this custom schedule Busch Series season. It has been a dominating season up to this point for Kyle Busch. We'll see if he can continue his dominance today and go for back-to-back wins after dominating at Homestead, leading 158 laps and getting the win in that race pretty easily at that. And we'll see, again, if he can win on another short track as well, because the short tracks have been really good for Kyle Busch as well. He already has wins on short tracks at Phoenix, Dodge Raceway, as well as the first Bristol race under the lights. So 3 short track wins. He'll try to go for actually make that 4 short track wins. He won a 50% race at Richmond also. So yeah, short tracks have been pretty good for Kyle Busch. He's led a lot of laps on them as well. Bristol, 188 laps led. Richmond, he led just 79 laps, but remember, because that was a 50% race, the race was only 125 laps long, so that's over half the race. Phoenix, he ended up leading 180 of 200 laps, and Dodge Raceway led 170 of 300 laps. So it has been a dominating performance so far. We'll see if he can do that again today as we hop into qualifying for tonight's race. Sizzy, welcome into the stream. Alrighty then. Derek Booth also welcome in. Spinning the tires on the access road trying to get onto the track. Thought I was about to spin out there for a second. 2 laps, try to set the quick time today. This is one of my favorite tracks on this game that we have at least raced at over the Truck, Busch, and Cup Series seasons. We raced there in the Cup side. Had a great race. Our Busch races here have been really good as well. Such a difficult track, but I'm usually fast, but I usually have a couple guys that we have to compete with. It's so hard to pass. You have to really finesse it well. But Busch is going to be on the pole here for starters. 18.699. He's going to run the second lap just to get that extra lap of practice before we get this race started. I don't think I've got to make any adjustments either. This car feels fast. It's gripping up well. And Kyle Busch going to look to dominate yet another short track race this season. First lap was actually quicker than lap 2, but still a pole time anyway. So on to the race here. Looks like Shane Meal will be starting in 2nd, Clint Boyer in 6th. Wait to see where Brian Vickers starts. Vickers back in 14th for the start of today's race, as the top 2 are still Hendrick Motorsports in points as they're 1-2 right now. Green flag is in the air. We are underway at IRP. It's weird how it didn't give me the start until after we crossed the start-finish line, but side by side between Kyle Busch and Shane Meal right now. Meal not going to let Kyle Busch just try to slip away here early. He's putting up a fight on the top, but Busch is going to be able to lead lap 1 even though he's not clear off turn 4 yet. And now he'll slide up clear in the middle of 1 and 2. Eric Crocker to the bottom underneath Shane Meal. 200 laps today around this racetrack that is just barely over half-mile in length. Almost closer to a 2/3 mile racetrack. Kyle Busch leading the way early, and Aaron Crocker to the inside of Kyle Busch, side by side for the race lead down the back straightaway. A little contact getting into the corner. Crocker runs the 5 all the way up the hill. Oh, and into the wall. Crocker back down in front of the 22 of Kenny Wallace. Big damage. Aaron Crocker just blew that corner, and she rode the 5 all the way up the track and then into the wall off the exit of the corner as well. And an early caution in this one involving the points leader. Way too aggressive from Aaron Crocker there, bringing out our first caution on lap 3. And Busch has to pit here as he's got quite a bit of damage on the left front of his race car for getting sandwiched into the wall. And can't pit for fuel or tires being involved in the accident either. That was just cruel. Kind of picking up where we left off on this game where we ran the truck race. He got squeezed into the wall in the last lap by Marvin Shett at Darlington and lost that race. Only this was on lap 3. Yeah, we talked about that news yesterday on the stream. About Deacon going to ThorSport. It'll be interesting, to say the least. I don't really know what the expectations should be for. I mean, you'd have to think making the playoffs has to be an expectation. Patrick Chatterley, thanks for tuning in. Nice to have a bigger screen than your phone. So a rough start for Kyle Busch after qualifying on the pole, leading the first 2 laps of the race, but then Aaron Crocker overdrove turns 3 and 4, ran the 5 up the track going into the corner, and then pinched him into the wall, causing an accident, and now Kyle Busch is at the tail end of the field in the early going on a track that is so difficult to pass. It's all because of the 6, really. It's going to be tough to dominate this race. I'm not going to count Kyle Busch out of it. He had a fast car in qualifying. But it is going to be a long road to get back towards the front. John Hamilton, by the way, was able to get to the inside and take the lead away from both Crocker and Busch after they made contact on the top. Kenny Wallace was also collected in that accident, so there were 3 cars total. See some sparks flying up ahead as we've got some contact in the middle of the pack. Busch overdriving the corner now, getting by the 123 with a little bit of contact. Mark DeMars, Michael Turner, welcome into the stream also. Didn't ThorSport literally switch to Toyota only like a year or 2 ago also? It's crazy they switched back as quickly as they did. Kyle Busch is struggling with this car right now. I think that wreck has really knocked a lot of speed out of his race car. I mean, I did absolutely nothing wrong there either. Wasn't looking to race too aggressive, just got driven into the side of all the way around the corner. Car's just way too tight right now. Definitely wasn't like that in qualifying. But now that he's in traffic and has damage on the left front of his race car, it's causing the car to push. Another reason that clean air was so important earlier. Gonna have to find a way to get that track position at some point in time. Contact getting into the corner. There's been a lot of contact in this. Busch's car doesn't really ride the bottom too well most of the way through the corner. He almost runs that middle groove a lot better, but the problem is he can't really make passes up here. And if there's a car too close behind him, they may get underneath him as well. Which is going to be the case right now with the 106 looking to the inside. Busch gets a good drive off, though. He's able to get down to the bottom in time into turn number 1. Gets hit from behind. And now contact with Jourdain in the 10. I haven't gotten him back after he wrecked us at Daytona still. Kind of forgot about that, honestly. Wasn't too upset with hitting him there then. I feel like the truck series would be like the only top series in NASCAR where that would be more applicable to change manufacturers as often as they do. You would definitely not see that in the Cup Series. A Cup Series is probably a longer-term contract, too, with teams and manufacturers. More high-profile drivers typically racing as well. They're locked down to... Man, this is just not good. This race went from good to not good in an instant. This car is nothing like it once was. Needs to get that clean air and that track position back, and they need to make some adjustments to this 5 car. I'd have to imagine it's going to be just a one-stop race today. Kramer, welcome into the stream. 131 squeezing Kyle Busch now. And Busch squeezes him into the wall right back. Making the pass for 38th. 25 laps complete already. It's not a long race. Contact! Almost a wreck on the back straightaway and an evasive maneuver by Kyle Busch to make some 3 wide passes going into turn 3, and he's up to 32nd. Looked like Jamie McMurray in the 64 made contact with another car off of turn 2. That was such a quick checkup, and I don't know how my reaction was as quick as it was, to be completely honest. 9 times out of 10, I run right into the back of the car in front of me when stuff like that happens. I have no clue how I got to the bottom as quickly as I did. A little bit of clean air on the 5 now, at least until he catches this group of cars in front of him. John Hamilton's led every lap in this race since that first caution, after he was able to get to the lead with the wreck involving the 6, the 5, and the 22. Kind of slipped to the bottom 3 wide and missed everything. Got NASCAR 22 coming back to the channel tomorrow night. We'll be racing at Kansas at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we'll also be racing NASCAR 22 on Sunday afternoon at noon Eastern Standard Time for a Coca-Cola 600. And we'll be officially halfway through the regular season after tomorrow night's race, actually. It'll be the 13th race out of 26 in the regular season. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today. That was the fastest lap by Busch there of an 18.721. Really trying to figure this car out still. Oh. Slid a little bit too far wide off the exit of the corner that time. Made contact with the car on his outside. Still side by side all the way through turns 1 and 2 though. Saw contact that corner as well, getting into turn 1 between the 163 and the 21. And Busch is going to be all clear off the exit of turn 4. So he's up to 31st. He's slowly getting through the field. But of all the short tracks, again, this is probably the most difficult to pass on this schedule. I thought this would probably be the hardest to win. But then when we qualified on the pole, it's like, oh, get ready to dominate. But Aaron Crocker had other plans there in the early going of the race. Really, really set this 5 car back. The good news is Busch has a 532-point lead. So, I mean, we're a few races ahead of second. You don't want to blow all those races. We still have 12 races left after this race is done tonight, so can't just, lay back, finish 30th every race. Vickers will catch us eventually, especially considering he's in the same equipment. Second in points for a reason. He's been the second most consistent driver this season. This season-long points format. Busch really trying to diamond the corners off, but then when he gets to the inside of another car, he's just having such a hard time trying to grip up on that yellow line on the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to make another pass, though, and break inside the top 30 for the first time since that crash. Track position is going to be key in this race. Any way we can get it, the better. I don't think pitting under any cautions is gonna help. We're just gonna have to try to tough it out until we have a chance to make an adjustment. Still quite a bit of side-by-side racing outside the top 10, and a little contact again. Time between the 117 and the 124. Really slowed that car on the outside down because he got passed by not only the 117, but also the car that was behind him. And now Kyle Busch to the inside as well off turn 4. Quickly tried to fill that gap up as soon as he could. Slid the tires a little bit getting into the corner. Making slight contact. He is now up to 29th. Couldn't hold it. Wanted to try to not make contact that time. It's going to be so patient trying to get back to the gas. It's where the car on the outside has the advantage because they're able to get the power down a little bit quicker than the car on the bottom. Took 3 corners for Kyle Busch to clear the 29th place race car. Get a long enough green flag run, I'm sure lap traffic is definitely going to be costly for John Hamilton. That might give a chance for other drivers to try to close in, but for right now, he is driving away at the front of the field, and looks like the class of the field in the early going. We'll never know exactly how good Kyle Busch's car would have been if it wasn't for that wreck, but if it was anything like qualifying, I think he might have been the one to beat today originally, but that is not the case anymore. His car is just not the same. He's really going to have to try to find some sort of strategy to get his way back to the front of the field. And it's tougher to do in the Busch and truck races because of how short they are. Again, only 200 laps around a track that's barely over half-mile in length. Already about a quarter of the way home. Take our first field pass of the race. We'll go to Brian Vickers in the 57 car. He is in 16th right now. So he qualified 14th. Even he's outside the top 10. So the good news is for Kyle Busch being the points leader is that the second place driver in points is not having a great day so far as well. Bobby Labonte in the 19 going to drive it in deep. He's going to go 3 wide all the way on the apron, and he actually hooked up well in the corner to make 2 passes, and he's inside another car. So Bobby Labonte on a mission right now. Brian Vickers able to grip up on the bottom a little bit better than Kyle Busch, it feels. Boy, are only 20 points behind Vickers. Vickers to the inside of Labonte off of turn 4. We'll go back to Kyle Busch for now, who is in 26. He's on the inside of another car. Brandon Miller making a little bit of contact up there. Kyle Busch just clear off turn 2. .8 seconds off the lead is Busch. So that caution was on lap 3. We restarted at lap 7. Just keeping the 103 car behind him. Lost the 138 there a little bit over those last couple corners. as the run carries on, is the car going to keep getting tighter and tighter, or is it going to start to free up, and that could potentially help the 5 if that's the case. We'll alternate through the different camera angles one more time in today's race now. Both good corners there for Busch. Pretty solid lap. Definitely going to need a caution at some point to get back into it. He's not going to be able to make up 10.2 seconds plus all these positions over the course of one green flag run. Halfway out of gas, so definitely going to be able to go past halfway. I think we're... Man, it's going to be so risky to short pit, though. That's the thing. And that'll help gain a little bit of time if we pit and just split this race in half, plus making that adjustment change as soon as we can would help also. And then you risk going about 2 laps down with where he's at on the track right now if you were to short pit. Closing in on the car right in front of him. I believe it's the 148 car. Big dive getting into turn 3 for Kyle Busch. Actually got it to stick. I don't know how fast he carried it into the corner. Not fast enough to get underneath the 144. Now he gets blocked into turn 1, which forces the car to get a little bit tight. Regathers it, gets a pretty decent drive off. Drives it in deep into 1. A bit of contact. Still not clear, side by side. And now clear for 23rd. He's made his way about halfway through the field. A little less than halfway through the field still. I don't know, we'll see. Committed to making a block that time in the middle of the corner. Can carry a lot more speed into the corner, which I think is why it's helping when he widens his arc out. He ran an 18.750 that last lap with that line. I think that's the right line to run. It's just hard to do it in traffic. Remember, he picked up about 6 or 7 spots in one straightaway because of a stack up a few laps after the restart. Got one car that just blew an engine, by the way, and made his way into the pits. Right front starting to go away on the 5 of Busch. And it was somebody who was already in the running order behind Busch that just ended up on pit road with that engine problem. Busch going to slide clear for 22nd. Position-wise, I mean, realistically, we're almost in the top 10. If we can get to the top 10 before a caution, I'd start to feel more confident we can get back into this race, but until then. That's why it's so crucial just to pick up as many spots as we can before potential yellow. Because if we're still too far back, we're still never going to get to the lead. The good news is we did lead those first 2 laps of the race from the pole, so there's at least 5 bonus points for Kyle Busch today, just not going to get 10, at least the way things are going so far. .108 trying to move the 56 out of the way, didn't really work. It slowed him down a little bit, in fact, and Kyle Busch has a run at it. Can he stay underneath him? Not quite. Off turn 4. Trying to back the corner up through 1 and 2 a little bit. Actually, might have backed it up too much as he lost a bit of ground. Every team has to play every team in the MLB now. I mean, that's pretty cool in the sense that, like, if you go to games a lot, you can, you know, see a team play at, you know, your nearest ballpark more often. Because they play their divisional teams so many times. Especially when you have 3- and 4-game series with them. I couldn't even count how many times I've seen a Tigers and Royals game in my life. I even saw one in Kansas City last year. Even when I go to a road game, it's a Detroit-Kansas City game. Seen her play Cleveland a bunch, too. Both in Cleveland and in Detroit. More contact. Busch has a really good drive off, forces his way underneath the 157 to make a pass for 21st. Nearly 3 wide as the 184 was up on the outside, trying to give him as much room to the bottom as possible there. Now there's contact in front of him between the 56 and the 112. I mean, that would make sense. If they were going to have to do that, they would have had to drop the amount of times they played in the same division. I think it was 19. I think it's 19 games, if I'm not mistaken. It was before, at least. Maybe it was 18. It might have been 18. It was probably an even number. That would make more sense. 9 at home, 9 on the road. That would make sense. $80 laps complete. Kyle Busch has worked his way back inside the top 20s. 12.1 seconds off the lead. Coming up from the rear end of the field after a crash on lap 3 off the exit of turn 4 involving Aaron Crocker, Kyle Busch, and Kenny Wallace. Busch has quite a bit of damage on the left front of his car after that wreck. Really didn't have any fault to do with it. He led the first 2 laps. Crocker was able to get the second quickly and immediately tried to go after Busch in turns 3 and 4 for the race lead. On corner entry, she got into his driver's side door, kind of ran him up the track. Then they were 3 wide by the exit of the corner, and then she ended up squeezing him into the wall while Crocker was in the middle lane at the time with Busch on the outside, which caused the wreck, and then she backed it down the track into Kenny Wallace. John Hamilton was able to get to the lead, and Hamilton's led every lap since. He's been so close to getting that first Busch win of the season in recent races, and maybe today he's going to be able to do it. We have not seen a fantasy driver win a Busch race all season. So this would be a massive upset if John Hamilton's able to get it done today. Still over half the race to go. And we're approaching green flag pit stops. I would imagine that window's going to open up here in about 5 laps or so. When will Kyle Busch pit? To make a major adjustment change to this 5 car. does not have the speed he had in qualifying, where he qualified on the pole. With that accident taking place and then being in traffic on top of it. Where he did not have to deal with traffic, obviously, on his pole lap. He struggled. I don't even think he's got a top 10 car right now. With where it's at this moment in time. Could obviously change. You know you're going to lose a lot of time to the cars that are going to pit and take on fresh tires as well. Which is definitely going to have to be another reason as to when exactly do you want to pit. Yeah, the car's definitely gotten tighter and tighter as the run goes on, too. It's definitely not helped. Got quite a few cars pitting off the exit of turn 4 right now. Still sitting at just that one caution all the way back on lap 3. As we have gone almost 90 laps without a yellow during this current green flag run. Cubs and Cardinals in London series. Busch in 15th. It's 5 more spots gained if a yellow were to come out right now. Definitely have to watch the cars coming out of the pits down on the bottom of the racetrack. Busch going to be on the outside getting into turns 3 and 4. Kind of undercuts on the 131 car. It's a good crossover move to get to the bottom while the 131 was still trying to get up to speed. But can he hold the bottom this late in the run? Definitely had to squeeze the 131 with some contact to be able to pass him through 1 and 2. Over 13 seconds off the race lead as we're just shy of halfway. John Hamilton is still out on the racetrack as well. So those are the drivers I pitted as soon as that fuel window opened up to make it to the end of the race. We'll probably see quite a bit more pit right at the halfway mark, trying to split this race in half. Push a little arrow loose getting into turns 3 and 4 that time with the lap car behind him. Don't typically see cars get arrow loose on short tracks. Now he's about to get driven around on the outside by the car on fresher tires. Didn't work, ran out of room. Now the 131's going to get to the bottom. Busch just hoping for a caution right now. Definitely going to have to be a 4-tire stop. That's without a doubt. There still isn't really that many cars that have pit. J.J. Yaley overdriving turn 1. Looked like he got a bump from behind, potentially from the 131 car that was on the bottom as well. Yaley just really blew past those 2 cars behind Busch. But now he's struggling to try to get around the 5. Kyle Busch has lost a lot of his time compared to John Hamilton over the last handful of laps. Not that long ago, he was about 12.1 to 12.2 seconds off the lead. Now he's 14.4 back, so he is definitely losing a ton of time as we're very late in this run and over 100 laps on these tires. Of course, spinning with these tires didn't help either. On top of the damage, J.J. Yaley going to pass Busch on the outside. It's not for position, though. Yaley is already pit. Looks like John Hamilton is on his way into the pits now. Contact. Busch overdrive in the corner into turn 1. Brian Vickers. Kyle Busch was just able to get to the bottom. Now contact with this... sorry, that was actually Tony Raines, not Brian Vickers. Never mind then. Aaron Crocker leading for the first time today. 5 bonus points for her. Kyle Busch is definitely going quite a long ways in case we see a caution. Now Brian Vickers is in the pits. Kyle Busch will stay out one more lap. He's going to pit at lap 107. So Kyle Busch will stay out this time by. And now he'll be pitting. Just didn't get that caution he really wanted here in the middle of green flag stop. So now he's going to have to finally pit. And it will be almost sped coming in. That would have been terrible. 4 tires and fuel. 1 round of wedge coming out of the race car. We're going to add 2 pounds of air pressure also. Major adjustments going on for Kyle Busch as the Mr. Clean crew will go to work on this number 5 Lowe's Chevrolet. Clean stop. And a clean exit to pit road. Marvin Schett just coming in this time from the lead. Stayed out to get 5 bonus points. Coming off that truck win at Darlington. Making a pass in the final couple laps. Now how good will Kyle Busch be with this adjustment change? Took a round of wedge out of the race car, added 2 pounds of air pressure. Can he grip the bottom lane up well enough? But he's going to have to come from 27th. 83 car staying out. Fastest lap, by the way, by Busch at last lap of an 18.603. He has picked up about over a tenth and a half from where his fastest laps were with that last setup he had on the race car. Is that what he needs to be able to make up this time? 106 still out there on the track, by the way. Busch trying to get to the bottom 3 wide. You just can't quite do it. 106 may be pitting here any lap. He'll pit right there. The 157 slowed up right in front of Busch. Busch going to get underneath him through 3 and 4. It does seem like Kyle's a little bit better on that end of the track. Man, more contact with the 157. And race leader John Hamilton is right behind Kyle Busch as well. Busch up to 23rd. John Hamilton is the leader, though, so Busch cannot go a lap down here. He's got to make up a full lap, pretty much. He is not going to be able to do that without a caution. There's no way. The car feels great. We're a tenth and a half quicker than what we were. But there's no way we're going to make up a full lap. Not in less than 90 laps. 18.5. Another fast lap for Kyle Busch. He's over 2 tenths quicker with this adjustment change after the damage on the left front of the race car. I mean, he's running faster laps now than what another 18.547. This thing's not over if we get a caution. Restarts, I would imagine, going to be pretty crazy. The last one the initial start was crazy as well. Busch to 21st. He wasn't 20th before the pit stop started. He lost a lot of time staying out as long as he did as well. It was definitely a risk. He's trying to catch a caution and just never got it. Everybody is more than cycled through now. I mean, Busch was not able to grip the bottom all the way through the corner the way he is right now, but now he is definitely able to. The problem is, though, is still trying to make the passes. He's gripping up the bottom a lot more, but I've noticed ever since he came out of the pits, he's been getting crowded on the inside a lot more at the same time. He'll make a pass to get back inside the top 20 through turns 3 and 4 there. The more spots Busch can gain now, position-wise, before potential caution. Obviously, that's less cars he would have to pass on a restart. There's quite a few lap cars, too, so really you'd have to pass about the entire field right now if you consider the lap cars with the lead lap cars. So he's minimizing it basically 2 cars with every car he passes for position. Big block on the front straightaway there by the 129. Kind of what I was talking about, though, with these guys racing Busch a lot more aggressively now. Still finds a way to get to the inside in the middle of 3 and 4. Probably going to get crowded quite a bit, though, in turns 1 and 2. Not as much by the 138, at least, which is going to allow him to make a couple passes per position in the span of about a lap. Really flatlined it getting into 3, just trying to make sure he was going to be clear. Busch is definitely pulling away from John Hamilton. He's getting through the traffic a lot better. And I think Kyle Busch has the fastest car on the racetrack all of a sudden, which is amazing. The adjustment changes he was able to make with that. When you consider the fact that he probably wasn't even a 15th place car before that pit stop, and now he's a race-winning car. Underneath Brandon Miller. Busch trying to get under the 108, but he gets blocked into turn 1. Miller squeezes Busch. Busch makes the pass. Now the 108 trying to move the 184 out of the way. Busch is up to 16th. Still better in 3 and 4, I do believe, even with the setup change. He's just quicker all the way around the track in general now. So return makes him that much more quicker. Big, bold maneuver to pull up as high as he did off the exit of turn 4, but he was clear. Trying to get by the 108, trying to find a way around him. Get that 108 car off the bottom. Busch just gets to the inside, trying to make a clean pass. And it looks like he's going to be able to do so. He'll be clear into turn 1. So he's up to 14th. He was in 27th when he came out of the pits. The bad news is, though, is he's only gained about 2 seconds of time over John Hamilton of the original 18.8 seconds. So he definitely does not have enough laps to catch John Hamilton to win this race without a yellow flag coming out. We'll hope for the best. Still have 70 laps to go. Driving it in a little too deep on entry, though, now. And I wonder if the car's going to tighten up more and more and more over the course of the long run, kind of like it did before. And the car may not be as fast as an 18.5 anymore. Pretty worn out surface at IRP as well. More so now. I think this might even be the same surface. I don't think it's been repaved. At least since 2005. Which is where this race takes place. I didn't ask you guys a trivia question yet tonight, so I'll ask you right now. And tonight's trivia question on the channel is, who was the last non-Cup Series regular to win an Xfinity Series race at IRP? That is today's trivia question. Who was the last non-Cup Series regular to win an Xfinity race at IRP? And I'll give you guys till the end of lap 145 to answer that question correctly if nobody gets it before then. And it's a non-Cup regular in that specific year, obviously, that they ran it. I'm not saying it's somebody that's not in the Cup Series now. It's just at the time. But by the way, the last Xfinity race at IRP was 2012, so that gives you guys a little bit of an idea, I guess, of who might have been around at the time. So that'll be the hint. Making a quick pass on the 112, the 106. I believe is a lap down. Yep. And he'll get passed off turn 2 as well. Much less than 16 seconds off the lead now. He's up to 13th. It is not Austin Cindric. It's not Christopher Bell. Those guys weren't in the Xfinity Series that long ago. Take our final field pass of the race now as we'll drive as Brian Vickers for a little bit. For 2 whole laps exactly. Vickers closing in on the 133, maybe for position, not entirely sure. And even Vickers in 10th place is 11 seconds off the race lead right now. Still think despite freeing up Kyle Busch's car, Vickers has still got the superior car. Definitely because he just ran an 18.518. Side by side. A slight bit of contact as Sheth was really pinching Vickers down the track. Vickers will slide clear in the middle of turns 3 and 4. So Vickers up to P9. But he isn't as many positions ahead of Kyle Busch as he once was. Busch 15.9 seconds off the race lead right now. Just praying for a caution. And we're 5 seconds behind 9th and 10th. So there's not really too many more positions to really be had under green flag conditions. This group of cars up here, I would imagine maybe 1 or 2 of them could be a spot. Maybe. Won't know until we pass them. So the answer to the trivia question, by the way, nobody got it before the end of lap 145. It is not Joey Gase. He has not won an Xfinity race the last I can think of. I don't even know if he was in the Xfinity Series at that time. I don't think he was in NASCAR quite yet either. But the year was 2007, and the last driver to win an Xfinity race that was not a Cup regular at IRP was Jason Leffler. Jason Leffler in 2007 would have been the last one. 50 laps remain in this race at IRP. Will we see a Cup regular win? Will we even see an actual driver win? I mean, John Hamilton has absolutely dominated this race through green flag pit stops. He has probably led all but less than 20 laps, at least to this point. Jamie McMurray not quite for position there for Kyle Busch either. He's passed about 5 cars in the last handful of laps, and none of them were for position. Car's definitely tightening it up a little bit over this long run. Yeah, right out of the gate, those fresh tires, though, we were running 18.5s, low 18.5s. And the high 18.6s, which is still faster what we were at our fastest in that first run, which was kind of mid to high 18.7s. Still in 13th, though. Oh, we've passed like 7 lap cars and still haven't caught a lead lap car yet. And that was another lapper in the 119. Running out of time for there to be a caution. Just over 40 laps to go. 40 short laps away from the checker. Busch has only finished outside the top 10 3 times this season. Trying not to make it 4. Marvin Shett, last we knew of, was in 10th. Vickers just passed him for 9th place, but they were also about 11 seconds off the lead at the time. And that was about 15 laps ago. Busch still 15.2 seconds off. Sliding the car around a little bit these last couple corners. You have to not abuse those tires still, because you're not gonna want to pit. Track position is just too important if we were to get a caution. I mean, although if we did pit, knowing John Hamilton's only a few seconds behind us, and a lot of the cars we have been passing aren't for position, I don't think Busch would lose too many positions if he did pit, so maybe he should end up hitting pit road if we see a caution. Try to make another adjustment change. Might be worth it after all. Front tire really starting to go away on the 5. Yeah, I mean, we're passing cars, and we're one of the fastest, if not the fastest car on the track. Not by much over John Hamilton. Actually, we're fairly equal at this point in the run. We were initially faster than him, but kind of been stuck at 15.2 seconds off the lead here for a while, but I don't think he's had as heavy of lap traffic as Busch has been dealing with either, though. Could be wrong on that, I guess. Don't really know for sure. Does look like he's got cars around him on the track map. Got a car blowing up on the inside of the track. Just gets ran into by Bobby Labonte. Busch is going to get a bunch of... None of those passes were for position. How? Went all the way to the apron. Made a little contact with another car, but all the way to the apron, none of those passes were for position. We've probably passed at least 15 cars since moving into 13th, and none of them have been for position. John Hamilton's got a lot of lap traffic around him now. Quite a bit of clean air in front of the 19 of Bobby Labonte. I do believe Bobby's for position. Busch to the inside through 1 and 2. Battle for 12th. And Busch is going to have the spot. Hamilton got slowed down by about a second. That traffic jam he's in right now. The good news is Busch has clean air. The bad news is we only have 30 laps to go. That could have been a yellow we just never got. And Busch got held up just a little bit. He didn't get through that perfectly, but... definitely wasn't great. 28 laps left. All I want is a shot with a decent amount of laps left, too. Blame Aaron Crocker on this one tonight. Right side tires in the yellow on the tire wear indicator. Yeah, if we get a caution, I'm pitting. Because there's almost no cars between John Hamilton and Kyle Busch. I think 1 or 2 positions we'd probably lose at the most. Because that, I mean, we were running... for about 10 laps, we were consistently in the 18.5s. The low 18.5s. And I think if I add a bit more air pressure as well, that's going to be the strategy call. Get a restart with 10 or less laps to go. There won't be any lap cars to the inside of the lead lap cars. I don't know that that would help or hurt us. I think it would help us gain more positions, but the chances of winning would be lessened because we're going to have more cars that we're going to have to pass to get to Hamilton. That's not, a caution is definitely not what John Hamilton would want. Got through that first restart earlier and had the lead ever since. Hasn't had to worry about another restart this entire race. I'm not counting Kyle Busch out of a top 10 finish, though, yet. I think under green flag conditions, he can get 2 more spots. I think I see Vickers. He's about 6 or 7 cars ahead of where Kyle Busch is at right now. And we still have 20 to go, and I think Busch is faster than him at this point in the run. Just got to get through those lappers pretty quick. And if he could beat Vickers today on a day where Busch hasn't had the greatest day, it still increase his points lead. Now, although Clint Boyer might end up taking second in points if he is in the top 5, I haven't really seen him today. Left front now starting to give way. Big power slide by Busch getting into turns 1 and 2. He's made up a little over 6 seconds of time since coming out of the pits at lap 108. 75 laps to gain 6 seconds. It just goes to show how fast Busch has been. And he's gone from 27th to 12th. Lap times have fallen down to 18 high 7s. It's about where he was at his fastest, though, with the damage he had on it with the last setup. $16 laps to go. Yeah, once we got to Fontana and the hot streak that started the season finally kind of came to an end, it's been a little bit of inconsistency from Busch since, but the good news is he built up such a huge points lead. It's going to be tough to give all of it back up before the end of the season, knowing that we only have 12 races left after this. But we do have 2 more Super Speedway races left and 1 more at Daytona, so I guess you never know. Lose 2 whole races worth of points in those 2 races alone. You have to imagine Watkins Glen's going to be a crapshoot, usually is, to go there yet before the end of the season. A couple more lap cars passed by Kyle Busch. 13 to go. He's running out of time. Even to get inside the top 10, he's running out of time. Well, where's the caution? Who wants to crash? Everybody's going to be plenty good on field at the end. That's not going to be an issue. John Hamilton definitely deserved the win today, though. I mean, who knows? Maybe Kyle Busch would have just dominated, but Hamilton capitalized early, and he never looked back. He's going to go on to lead over 180 laps. We're going to have another new winner in the Busch Series, and it's going to be the first time a fantasy driver will have gone to victory lane all Busch Series season long. Hamilton's been knocking on the door these last 3 or 4 races, and he's finally going to get it done. He came close at Dover. Oh, that was in the truck race, not the... But he came close a couple times. I think Old Spice Speedway, he led some laps in that race. Had a good run. That was a few races ago. I think even Daytona, he had a good run, too. 8 to go. Caution comes out, 5 or less laps left, and it'll end the race. I do see the 133 of Marvin Chet just a couple cars in front of Busch. That is a spot for certain. I know the 138's not a spot. I think this is Jourdain behind him. He's a lap down also. I don't know if there's enough laps for Busch to get in the top 10 like I originally thought. Big contact getting into turn 1. I think Shane Meals definitely for position. He's right in front of the 133. Busch got out of the clean air, though, and he's not really able to get close enough. So he's too tight. Oh, we got another car blowing up. Right in the middle of the corner. This could be a chance to get a top 10, and it will! Busch is up to 6 as he power slides off of turn 2. Passing the grass. Getting around whoever just blew an engine and stacked everybody up there. That car is going to get to pit road. We stay green, and Kyle Busch is up to 6th place. A lot of smoke off turn 2. I think that was the tire smoke from Busch sliding out of the grass. He was desperate to get around those guys, and he did it. 3 to go. That'll work, too. We just passed 6 cars for position that time, not all lap cars like it was the last time that happened. Kyle Busch has gained 21 spots since the green flag pit stop at lap 107. He put on a rally to at least get back up to 6 without any cautions either. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for John Hamilton, as it's going to be just a 1 caution race. Kyle Busch is going to kind of luck his way into a 6th place finish, but he'll take it. Let another hot streak continue. I was guaranteeing 12th there for a little bit, and then a prayer got sent from heaven. I don't even know who that was that blew the engine, but thank you. I'll take a 6th place the way this went. Congratulations, John Hamilton, winning at IRP, dominating the race tonight. Kyle Busch will end up finishing 6th. Eric Crocker, unfortunately, wow, 10-second victory, too. We weren't that far. I mean, we were only like 5 seconds behind 2nd. We lost some time because of that checkup, too. We lost like 2 seconds compared to the next car in front of us, but we beat Brian Vickers by 2 spots. Vickers going to lose points to Busch, despite Busch being outside the top 10 almost the whole race. Unbelievable. There's a look at the top 10. John Hamilton led 189 of the 200 laps today. 9 lead changes total, most of them through green flag pit stops. 1 caution for 3 caution laps. 1 hour, 4 minutes total time on today's race. 10.6 second margin of victory and 127.18 miles per hour is the average race speed. Aaron Crocker ends up 2nd with 3 laps led. I definitely know she led those during green flag stops. Clint Boyer, quiet but good day, finishes in 3rd. JJ Yaley had a great run, finished in 4th. He was one of the first cars to pit, and I think that's how he cycled out as well as he did. Kenny Wallace ended up 5th. Kyle Busch led 3 laps at the start of the race today, finished in 6th. Tony Raines ends up 7th. Brian Vickers in 8th with no laps led. Jeremy Mayfield 9th. And Shane Meal will round out the top 10. Trigger led 1 lap during green flag stops, ended up 11th. And actually, George was the last car in the lead laps. Only 12 cars finished on the lead lap. So definitely, if we would have had a caution, I could have taken fresh tires. I wouldn't have lost any spots running in 12th where I was. So and I think that definitely would have been the game plan. It wasn't going to be the original game plan, but I noticed John Hamilton was lapping a lot of cars. I mean, he had a 10-second win. I mean, that's impressive on a short track. By a fantasy driver of all drivers winning by that much. He had a strong car. Greatest race of his career. Richardson, Clark, and then Irvin in those last couple laps are the only 3 that had engine failures and DNF'd. Nobody wrecked out of the race. Irvin led 2 laps during green flag pit stops in this one as well. So time to check out the point standings. 12 races to go in the Busch Series season. We'll pick this series back up again likely next week. The Tropical Oasis 200 at the Mr. Clean Speedway. So that's actually technically Rockingham. So we'll be going to the Rock for the next race on the Busch Series schedule. So that'll be a fun one. It's a fun track in these EA games. Difficult, but it's fun. Kind of like this one. Difficult, but fun. It's not a broken difficult. It's like a difficult, like, wow, this is really hard to drive. But it's not broken. Boyer will move into 2nd in points by just 3 over Vickers. So Vickers falls back to 3rd, a 542-point lead. So we actually did gain 10 points today despite running outside the top 10 almost the entire race. We had 5 bonus points. Good thing we qualified on the pole. And good thing we got a rally to 6th, the prayer from heaven. In those final couple laps to gain 6 spots in the final 4 laps of the race. But, yeah. I mean, I'll take it. We gained 10 points on the cut line. We had a top 10 finish. We led laps. I'll take it. It's not the win. Obviously, we would have hoped for coming in. But when you look at the championship, we made sure we didn't lose points today. Even though Boyer beat us, he had to catch Vickers first. So, I mean, Boyer definitely gained on us. But overall, we gained 10 points. On 2nd, John Hamilton moves up to 7th with his win. Irvin DNF, so he definitely passed him in points. Trigger outside the top 10. He might have passed him in points also. Also Bobby Labonte, because he was just outside the top 10. I think John Hamilton might have... Did he come into this race in the top 10 in points? Let me check the point standings real quick. He came in... Oh, yeah, he was 8th. He only gained 1 spot. But he was only 4 points ahead of Trigger and only 20 points ahead of Bobby Labonte, so he definitely pulled away from them quite a bit more. Thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Again, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. We're just 1 away from 20 on the stream. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. NASCAR 22 coming back to the channel tomorrow night. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be running at Kansas Speedway for that race. And that will be an interesting one. 1.5 miles on NASCAR 22. Those have been probably the better oval races. Usually don't get as many cautions at least, so you can kind of run the run out. See how it'll end up working out. Hopefully we don't get a lot of yellows, so that way we don't have as many scoring errors. And we'll hope for a good race. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you guys again tomorrow night.